So if you guys didn't already know, there's an exploit you can abuse right now in order to get the maximum XP gains per hour from Nightmare Dungeons. And there's potential other uses for it too. And this one's definitely going to get patched out of the game. So if you're going to use it, you're going to want to use it now. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't get patched out of the game because it's definitely buggy feeling, to say the least. So Nightmare Dungeons, you unlock level 50, once you get Nightmare, World Tier 3. And you have to do the Tree of Whispers quest to start getting these. Tree Whispers right here. Quest at the end of the game. Check your side quests over here, this tab, and there's something where you meet the guy from the main story. Get you directed on that. After doing a bunch of those, you eventually get these. Start doing these. You do your Nightmare Dungeons. Well, the thing is that each of these have their own affixes, and they're different places that they have you go to and stuff. And some of these are better for farming than others, and that's really important because there's a way we can find one that we like and then grind it forever on the same Nightmare Sigil. Now, there's more that you need to know than just that, though. So with XP, there's a bonus in how much XP you get if the enemy is higher level than you. But that'll only cap at 3 levels. So for me, I'm level 73 during this recording. So on this character, if I fight enemies that are level 76, that'll be the max amount of XP I can get. That'll give me 25% bonus XP. So if you have a build that's good enough and you have gear that's good enough for that and all that, then you'll be able to, reasonably farm enemies that are 3 levels higher than you in torment mode and get that max amount of XP. So you're going to go through these and you're going to try to find the tier for whatever whatever level you are. They just, the higher level, the tier of the Nightmare Sigil, the higher level the dungeon. I don't have the exact table in front of me, but like level, say, tier 20 is like level 78 or something. I can't remember, something like that. So you just got to find the ones for the correct level for you, or as close as you reasonably can. But what's more important than that, find one that's like close enough to the right level, find one that's in a place that's good to farm, and then you're gonna look at these affixes on it. And you see, like this one, I have 6% increased critical strike chance. Or this one, where killing a monster gives me attack and move speed, stacking up to 15%. You're gonna find one that has bonus, the green affix, the one that's good for you. That is really good. One of the ones that you can get is just plus 15% damage flat. Okay. So that's like a really crazy one to get. And then as for the negative ones, you just want to make sure it's not something terrible. Like that one where there's the freaking molten thing that follows you around and slams the ground constantly and tries to kill you. Things like that are super unbelievably annoying, so just don't do one of those. You're going to find one of these on a good place to farm, like Blind Burrows or something like that. And then you're also going to find one that'll give you like bonus damage or something, and one where the 2 negatives there aren't not that bad. There's some things that are not really that important. Then whatever that is, let's just say that it is this one, which it's not. This one's okay, but it's not great. But say it was. Okay, so Shadow to Plunge Howzar, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and activate it. Okay, I didn't realize that one was a Nightmare one, so it's starting at tier 20. But you can see this at this guy crafting at the Occultist. The Ancestral start from tier 21 and above. Anyway, so one of those. So let's pretend this one was something I really wanted, which this one's not. But if it was, okay, so this one's Lost Archive. So go ahead, activate it like a normal Nightmare Dungeon, but there's some glitch we're going to take advantage of in order to farm it endlessly. So Lost Archives is over here. I'm going to go ahead and just go there now. So let's just pretend this is a dungeon I actually want to do, which it's not one that I want to actually farm XP on. But if it was a good one. I had one with a good buff and all that stuff. So what you'll do is you'll go through the dungeon like normal, and you'll beat the dungeon like normal. Just easy peasy, whatever. Just do it whichever way. And once you've cleared it, do not finish it. Whatever you do not finish it. Just like when you're farming XP on a normal dungeon, you'll do the first steps. So like this one, slay the demonic vanguard too. Okay. We'll kill all the enemies. We'll do all of that and stuff like that. Get our XP and get, max whatever. Get everything as fast as we can. But don't finish it. Instead, you're going to do a bunch of it, and then you're going to leave the dungeon. And there's something we need to do then in order to glitch this out and then make it permanently farmable, and also without having to relog our game. A normal dungeon, you have to relog your game as a solo in order to be able to farm it endlessly. Well, what you can do here, I haven't tried it on a cellar. There's a cellar nearby, but I haven't tried one of those. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just manually run to another dungeon nearby, and then we're going to have to go into another dungeon and clear the not finish, but we're going to go to another dungeon, and we're going to do the first steps just like in the one we just did, and then we're going to head out of that dungeon. So we're going to go over to this one, and we're going to head inside of it. So we'll go in this one, we'll kill everything. We'll complete the first step of the dungeon till it actually completes that first quest in it, because every dungeon has like these 2 steps. And then after that, we're going to leave. So this one is slay Adelgrim and collect the gate key. So I'm going to go do that real fast. Okay, we slayed him. We take the gate key. And now after that, we're going to leave this dungeon. And we're going to manually run back to the Nightmare dungeon now. So like I said, we don't complete that one. We get back on our horse. And we head back over to the Nightmare dungeon we were just at. And somehow that glitches out the entire game and lets us exploit Nightmare dungeons. So I strongly suspect that this will get patched out. They are going to buff Nightmare dungeons to make it sort of like this, where you can just teleport to them. So it's like there's not going to be a big time loss to go from one to another. But getting a perfect one like this and be able to farm it endlessly, now that's something that they're not going to add into the game. So we're gonna, if you're going to want to do this, you're going to want to do it now. So we're going to head back into that original Nightmare dungeon that we, cleared out the first time. And now when we head back in it, you'll notice this is a different dungeon. It's completely different and different map and all that. So now what we can do is we can go through here and complete this first step, the slay the 2 demonic vanguards, and then we can leave the dungeon. So depending on what dungeon you're on, whatever part you've gone through that you want to go through, don't complete it actually. Just do part of it, whatever part that is, whatever it is, so you can XP or whatever. Once you feel like you farmed what you want to farm on each cycle, leave the dungeon. You do not have to leave game. You don't have to reform a party or anything. I don't know how this even works in a party. I actually haven't tried this in a party. But as a solo, you just leave and come back in. And that's it. You don't have to leave your game and come back in. You don't do any of that stuff. Leave, walk back in, and that will completely reset your Nightmare dungeon. So you see now, brand new dungeon. But we're still in the same Nightmare. We're still over the same affixes. It's the same level. So what you can do, if you haven't already figured it out by now, is you just farm the dungeon that's ideally 3 levels above you and has the perfect affixes to make it as fast as physically possible. Farm as much of it as makes sense, and then just leave dungeon and come back in and do this over and over and over and over again in order to get XP. Once you've gained a level or 2, then what you'll do is you'll, try to do a different Nightmare dungeon then. And while you're doing this, you'll very likely find other, of these, whatever they're called, sigils. You'll find other of the sigils just from doing the first half of the dungeon every now and then, because their drop rate's a little bit higher in these Nightmare dungeons. So you'll get other ones around the same tier of the one that you're doing. And you'll just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And, by the time you've leveled once or twice, you'll probably have other ones that you can use. It'll be something good on a good dungeon, like Blind Burrows or whatever. And then you'll be able to, farm XP the fastest way possible. Now, there's probably a dungeon that's faster. Like, there was a video I just posted about, which late to the party on it, but there was Eridu's whatever. So there's one over here. It was Ruins of Eridu. And that one's insanely fast. I don't know if you can actually go faster than that one by doing this compared to just farming a normal dungeon like that one, but the one that's insanely good like that. But the difference for this one is, even if it's a little bit slower, it might be faster. It depends on the dungeon. But even if it's a little bit slower, the main thing here is that not only will you be leveling up your glyphs, which is huge. You'll actually be getting, these glyphs upgraded, which is really good. But also, you'll not lose your sanity. I mean, some people can handle it. Some people can handle 100 hours of doing the exact same dungeon. I sure as hell can't. I mean, I burned the hell out of myself trying to just farm one dungeon for like 10 levels straight, and I was like, man, I don't even want to play this game anymore. So for your mental health, this is better. But you also can farm, legendaries and things too. I think the drop rate for legendaries is higher in Nightmare dungeons, so it's okay. It's an okay legendary farm. It's one of the best, if not best, XP farm, and you can level up your glyphs. Those are all the reasons to abuse this while it's still a thing. Now, this will probably get patched. Knowing them, they'll patch it within a day or 2 even. I mean, it just found out recently. I'm not even sure who originally found it. But this will probably be gone within a week, I'd imagine. Just knowing how fast they've been on things like this. So if you want to do this, go ahead and do this now before it's too late. And go ahead and get your levels and your legendaries now. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I just wanted to keep you in the loop on what's going on with that. That's, for now, like, one of the best ways to farm XP, legendaries, and glyphs XP all at the same time. It's definitely a smart way to try to get to level 100, even if it's not the absolute fastest, which it may be in some scenarios. but getting that glyph XP is huge, so it's just a win-win scenario. It's like the best thing you can do. Everyone's talking about it. So there you guys go. That's like the best XP farm in the game right now, abusing a glitch in Diablo 4 right now.